Good evening, race fans. Welcome to the Core Racing Network. Tonight, UCRL back on track here with the Top Gun Cup at old the old version here of Charlotte, the legacy version. So this thing is a little bit more worn out and doesn't have the new paving, so a little bit rougher on these guys. But they got the old school cars out here on the old school track and gonna make some action here tonight. So 100 and I believe it's 117 laps here on tap. And we are in the second half of the season now, as this is race number 9, and these guys have a long way to catch up to your points leader Andrew Ratcliffe as he starts the second half of this season with a 136-point lead over Grady Gherkin. Eric Jeffers in third, Jacob Lesh in fourth, and Tim Glass in fifth. But we got a nice 16-car field out here tonight. Carl Hanwork here in the booth, joined along by Jimmy Covert. Jimmy, Charlotte Motor Speedway, kind of the unofficial home of NASCAR here. Ready for some Top Gun action?
We're always ready for some Top Gun action. These guys are always out for a good long fight on the raceway, trying to push the car to the limits, and that they can do here, especially at Charlotte. So far we have, it looks like, I just want to make sure we got about 17, we have 17 cars in the field at the moment. 16 guys at times down on the track right now for practice. You can see the guys pushing, trying to push their cars as fast as they go, maybe get to the top of the leaderboards. As of right now, JP Phillips has been able to do that, whether it's with the draft or by himself, but 31.8, Carl, I mean, that's pretty quick around here, and kind of almost looks like there's a small fall off in like midfield where everybody's, the top half of the field is pretty much within a tenth, and then about another 2/10 back to the second half of the field. So be a little maybe some drafting going around with the front few, or who knows what goes on there in practice. It's always a lot of shenanigans, and then kind of get it out of your system and try to find your way around here at Charlotte. But yeah, we're down here at the Legacy track. A little bit different from the older version, so but they do that a lot here with these 87s. If they have an older track, we go to the older version to suit the needs of the older vehicle of the 87.
Yeah, one thing I have noticed is these guys seem to be getting faster and faster throughout the practice. Of course, some of those times are draft aided, but just seeing the times get lower and lower. Obviously, as we get closer to nighttime here, the temperature is going to be going down outside and on the track, so that's going to help out the grip. But just kind of getting a little bit more and more comfortable with the track surface is definitely going to help. But for the first time in a while, we see Andrew Ratcliffe, your points leader, down towards the bottom half of the top 5 in practice. Granted, it's only practice, and you never know how good, some guys got some draft runs and things like that.
I think maybe he was just at the beach lately. He just still dragging around some bags.
It's understandable. He's got a little bit of a cushion that he can certainly play with, and he can make some more sandcastles and maybe let somebody else win for once. But yeah, I mean, maybe some competitors out here tonight and give him a run for his money. But I think the qualifying here is going to be maybe a little telltale sign of how things are going to come for the race itself here. Obviously, Charlotte is a track where there's going to be probably 1.5, maybe 2 grooves of racing, and you really kind of let the car kind of do the talking for you. There's obviously the line all the way at the bottom where if you can hook it in turns 1 and 2, get the get it all the way down on that paint, it's going to help you get that extra little bit of grip. But sometimes the car just feels better and floats a little bit better through the middle. Not exactly the fast way around there for Justin Kirby, as he gets it woed up in time. And the reason he did that, the reason he locked up, is now he can reset and actually get another time in here. So he didn't actually take the white flag officially yet. So a little good knowledge there for those that may be new to iRacing. Don't take the white flag, and you'll still have one more chance at it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's one way to help your situation out, especially if you're sliding or you're just we're off pace for that one lap. But we'll see if he can get it done here, as a few guys have already got some times in. And let's see, it looks like Trevor Hunt's on top of the boards right now with 31.7 over JP Phillips and Eric Jeffers. Mark Thomas sliding there in that 4th position right now, and looks like Brent Kirby is going to take the new pole. So we'll see if Justin can outdo his brother here, as Brent was able to take that provisional pole so far.
Yeah, and getting into turn one is probably the most treacherous part of this track. Once the tires start to wear out, you can see it getting a little bit hairy out of turn number 4. But getting into 1, it just it kind of just like drops off the table a bit there, and if you hit it the wrong way, it's going to get really squirrely going into the corner. If you kind of miss getting down to the bottom and your car feels good at the bottom, not in the middle, then it's going to be a real tough trip around turns 1 and 2. But a good job there, a good bounce back for Justin Kirby as he puts it into 3rd position right now. It should turn out to be a pretty good race, because Charlotte tends to be a track where it spreads out a little bit. Nothing maybe too crazy. Certainly later in the runs, it's going to get a lot wider if we get some long green flag runs here. But typically puts on a good race because of that, unless you have a crazy gnarly setup that's going to get you really loose coming out of 4, or even get you squarely going into 1.
Yeah, it's I love this track. It's not a short track for one, and like you said, you can run the multiple lines and stuff. But I think the story for tonight again is how well can they protect their tires, especially on a long green flag run. I think with this track and with these drivers out here, we've definitely seen them go on some long green runs, and I'm sure after the past few races they've had, they're looking to maybe redeem themselves and eliminate some of them cautions they've had the past few races. But in any case, we have 17 drivers that have gotten times in so far, and I think that might be the field here tonight. I'm searching around for my mouse
that's
somewhere.
what I'm seeing right now is 17 guys, and yeah, we are done with the short track gauntlet, as we had back to back with North Wilkesboro, Bristol, and then Martinsville. So go ahead and shake that out of your system and cut down the laps a little bit here as we go 117 instead of 175. And shortest tracks we're going to hit the rest of the season are going to be next week, or actually 2 weeks from now, at Dover. And then later in the season, we go to Phoenix, but both those tracks are 1 mile. So officially, no more short tracks on the season. We got the 1.5 miles here at Charlotte. And Charlotte, it's, unless I'm mistaken, it's one of those tracks that kind of has everything. I mean, of course, Daytona has the Daytona. It's got the road course, and it's got the rally cross that it can be converted into. But Charlotte here is got those, and it's got the legend track in the infield there. So I mean, technically you can have even one extra track, and right across the street you have the dirt track at Charlotte. So this thing is just a racing complex here. But we're done with qualifying, so Jimmy, give us a rundown for the race here at Charlotte.
Yeah, Black Magic Motorsports taking the front row here with Brent Kirby and Trevor Hunt, and then followed behind him in 3rd place, Justin Kirby. So Black Magic having a great showing out for qualification, and see if they can finish it up with the racing. Then we have JP Phillips in 4th, Andrew Ratcliffe in 5th, Stuart Alford in 6th, Eric Jeffers in 7th, Mark Thomas in 8th, Grady Gherkin back there in 9th spot, Scott Bolster in 10th, Chris Comidlins at 11th, Tim Glass in 12th, Peter Pazuchek in 13th, Jake Lesh in 14th, Jordan Wenzel in 15th. Somebody we haven't seen in a while, Felipe Ramos in 16th, and Matt Foster for Inca Salsa Racing back there and bringing up the back of the pack. So it's good to see them guys back out here tonight, and see if they can have a good run here as well.
Yeah, Black Magic hopefully can finish this thing the way they're starting here, as they enter the race here in 3rd in points behind Full Throttle Motorsports in 2nd, and then at the top of the boards, Turn and Burn Racing, as they've been pretty much dominating the scene here this season, as they've got 3,843 points, which equates to an 832 point lead over 2nd place Full Throttle Motorsports. So Black Magic certainly looking to reel in at least 2nd place. This could be a fairly easy win here for the season for Turn and Burn, but doesn't mean there's other positions that you're not fighting for as a team. So I'm sure Black Magic would at least like to try and make a run at that 2nd place. But we are ready to go here, and 17 cars are going to be in the field again. 17 for 117. Hopefully these guys can get, just spread out and fall into a comfortable zone here for a little bit, check off some laps, and then really start to get into the racing in the second half. But it's going to be Brent Kirby on the pole. Trevor Hunt in second. Justin Kirby in third. So watch out for a little bumping and banging here.
Yeah, I was just gonna say something too. You were talking. I'm like, I was gonna get a little quiet. Is it gonna happen? First lap calamity by the brothers? I mean, you never know. But anyways, about to find out as they're about to go green here for 117 laps.
Great start from Brent Kirby, and I'm sure that's just to get away from his brother as quick as possible. Doing a good job here so far. He's going to clear easily as Trevor Hunt's going to be into second. Side-by-side battle for third as you got JP Phillips on the outside. Just gets squeezed out a little bit by Trevor Hunt, and he's going to have to settle into third right now as we file end of line and already single file.
Yeah, and that's probably what they want to do. I mean, to get to basically settle down so they can't run away from each other. Let's check off some of these laps. Give the green flag run for the fans out there that keep showing up week in and week out to watch these guys race. But right now, Brent Kirby stretching out just a little bit as he's got all that clean air and nobody to battle with at the moment. So it looks like JP Phillips is going to look to the inside of Trevor Hunt to take away P number 2.
Yeah, and right behind them, side-by-side battle between Andrew Ratcliffe and Justin Kirby. These guys certainly have had history this season so far. That is your main battles right now on the track. Everybody else single file, just kind of watching all the action happen right now. As looks like Ratcliffe is just going to get by Trevor Hunt and move himself not just into fourth, but right into third, as well as JP Phillips moves into second. We've seen Phillips towards the top of the boards in practice. He's certainly got a fast number 22 out here tonight, as he is now going to try and hunt down Brent Kirby, who just really tried to sneak out from the front of that pack there, as he's got about an 1/8 of a second lead already on the field, but just within drafting distance. So I don't think he's going to fully check out just yet, but a good start for that 57.
Yeah, the draft does play a nice little bit here at Charlotte, but it's not like not like one car can't check out here. Just for some reason at Charlotte, I've seen single cars, have pulled away on their own, and it just means they're just driving a lot better line and able to save them tires. And so we'll see if Brent Kirby can work his magic and pull away from JP Phillips as he's ever so slightly pulled away a little bit, and then JP catches him a little bit. So we'll see how these guys conserve their tires and maintain their speed. But I almost didn't know Andrew Ratcliffe was out there, and he changed his paint scheme up on me out of that the DuPont. So kind of shook me there for a little bit that the car was all red by the rainbow color.
It's like Matt Foster having some issues here on the front stretch, and I think this is back-to-back laps now. I seen he went off track on the last lap as well, so
we'll go back there and check that one out.
Some issues. And already getting loose there out of turn number 4.
He just doesn't want to grow up yet. Wants to play in the grass.
I don't want to be, I don't want to grow up either. I want to be a Toys R Us kid too, but doing a little lawn maintenance on the front, so apparently he is trying to grow up a little bit right here in front of our eyes. So a little rough start here for Matt Foster, maybe just kind of getting his feet wet once again. Again, we haven't seen him for a little bit, so might have been on a little vacation, a little hiatus, but back out here on the track. But kind of surprised that Brent Phillips is Brent Phillips, a little mix of two guys here. Brent Kirby is stretching out away from JP Phillips here. He's out to over a second lead right now, so a really good start, but you really need to conserve here. This is a track where you need to be able to have a good long run car. As I said, more often than not, these races here at Charlotte tend to go pretty green, and of course, cautions breed cautions, just like any other track. But this is a track where you really need to kind of focus on the long game, on the big picture here, and you don't want to wear your equipment out too early. You don't want to get into the wall for sure, because it may not seem it, but this is definitely an aero-dependent track, and it's going to hurt your speed, but it's also going to hurt your cornering ability. So you got to keep the car clean, but you got to keep those front tires on. You can't be diving in too hard. You're going to wear out those fronts. You certainly don't want to be taking some crazy lines coming off. You're going to wear out that right rear, and it's just going to be nice and skatey for you in that long run.
Yeah, you start getting that front right tire all warmed up and worn out, and man, it makes getting into the corner a little bit more difficult, and definitely coming off the corner where car really likes to like start pushing, especially coming out of 2 and out of 4, going down that front stretch before you go down in front of the grandstands there. And it just, as you can see, Matt Foster is having a little bit of issues early, and kind of made him check up and go down through the grass. So it's real common to come out of 4, see somebody slap the wall, and then go mowing down through the field across the front stretch.
Little battle back there between Stuart Alford and I'm trying to see who that battle was between. It looks like between Stuart Alford and it was Eric Jeffers back there, and Alford gets a little bit shaky out of turn 4, and he's going to lose the battle to the 4 and also to the 50 of Mark Thomas, so he's going to slide back into 9th position here. But all in all, these guys, again, already single file, already spread out nice and evenly here. Still everybody within kind of drafting distance, other than from 1st to 2nd, it's stretching out a little bit. It's right around that 1 second range, and then you got a small gap between 12th and 13th. Another small gap in between 14th and 15th, and then obviously Matt Foster trying to kind of pick up the pieces from a bit of a rough start here, as he is certainly closer to the leaders than he is to the back of the pack.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, maybe Brent Kirby up there, as he's, slowly starting to get, the guys are starting to kind of walk in on him a little bit. Maybe you just realize, like, whoa, maybe I'm pushing the car too fast, too early. So we're only on lap 12 of 117. And I'm trying to get back here to check on, what the pre-race brief was for the range tonight, and it looks like the fuel run should be right around between the 70-75 laps, Carl. So that's a long time. They can still go in this car, as they'll need at least one more stop, and it looks like Matt Foster's off in the grass again.
Yep, one more trip through the grass here on the infield. But yeah, I mean, if the race is indeed going to stretch out, and it looks like Foster just doing the right thing and just kind of pulling off and getting out of everybody's way. And it was a self-imposed drive through the grass right there for the 32. But yeah, if these guys end up stretching it out and it's a green flag running, and if it goes green the entire way, and the fuel mileage is indeed stretched out that far at 75 laps, as a driver, I'm trying to split that thing right in half. I'm going to take tires at that halfway point too. I don't want to go 75 laps and then take tires for the last 40. Give me it, right smack dab in the middle. Give me about 60 laps on those tires, and then another 60 on those tires. They're still going to be screaming. They're still going to be pissed off, but at least they're not going to be down to 0%.
Yeah, I ran with these guys.
Teammate of Incas also racing there for Matt Foster. Looks like the 37 having some issues, and both guys really struggling right there in turn 4. And again, keeps it off the wall, does a great job getting it off the surface, but the 37 down there on the apron. So a couple of guys having some issues out here in turn number 4. So again, it can get a little squirrely, and you're seeing it even before you typically see it as right off the corner, but these guys are kind of having it almost as they're getting into turn 4.
Yeah, and these corners are kind of deceiving at times, where you think you can just keep your foot to the floorboard, and there's more letting the car drive itself around the corner than flat foot sometimes here at Charlotte, and especially if you want to save a little bit of tires. So probably just maybe just not been racing very much lately, and just getting back into the swing of things, as we've seen pretty good showings from both Felipe Ramos and Matt Foster. But little early troubles here as we're getting back into the swing of things. But it looks like, a little bit of smoke there around the corner, as and it looks like Felipe Ramos crashed again in the same spot. So go back and catch that.
Yep, down off the apron. It looks like he might have towed back into the pits as well. And yeah, same thing. The back end that just lets loose and does a great job keeping it down there on the bottom. But in the meantime, we've got some developments up front, as the lead for Brent Kirby is gone, and it is now Andrew Ratcliffe on the outside making the move to try and take away the lead. And he will indeed do so. So new leader here, completing lap number 17 We also seen JP Phillips start to slide back as well as Trevor Hunt and Grady Gherkin were able to get along into third and fourth, and now looking like they're going to make a move here on the inside of Brent Kirby. So could have been like what we talked about earlier, just wearing out those tires a little bit early for both of these drivers, and now they're starting to get eaten up a little bit, and it's only on lap 18.
Yeah, I raced with these guys last week, and they definitely schooled me on how they could save tires and how I could not. As I ended up getting a black flag meatball for driving the heck out of my car and running my tire down to zero, but these guys did not, and they were able to maintain great speed around last week's track. But right now, the guy doing a pretty good job of getting up front like normal is Andrew Ratcliffe, and at number 24 is found his way up front with Trevor Hunt, who's had some really good races lately. Has found himself in second. Grady Gherkin, the little pickle that always can, to find himself in third now, and then JP Phillips back there in fourth place.
So now starting at lap number 20, and looks like basically just kind of two fatalities right now. Both the Inca Salsa Racing teammates here, Matt Foster and Felipe Ramos. Looks like Ramos is out of the race, and now Matt Foster going to call it a night here as well. Just really having a rough time, especially coming into and out of turn number 4. But 15 guys still in the running here, and this is the only one that is kind of off pace right now, and that is Tim Glass. Just kind of plodding away here in the Wendy's machine, but falling off the back of the pack. Up front, it is very tight as Andrew Ratcliffe has now got company on the inside. Trevor Hunt's now throwing his name into the hat, and he's got Grady Gherkin right behind him. Trevor Hunt's got no help as they go down the backstretch, and Gherkin going to pull alongside. It's going to shuffle Andrew Ratcliffe right back to the front by himself, but it is it's getting a little racy here, and kind of early as both these guys stumble a little bit coming off the corner. But luckily they don't get into each other, and JP Phillips has enough of a gap that he doesn't get into them.
You go ahead and switch over to the drone camera a little bit, as we definitely pay that pilot to be out there to be watching these guys. But great battle up front here as you got some side-by-side action with the 59 of Trevor Hunt and Grady Gherkin, and that 46 using that outside. So I really love seeing that some tracks you can utilize, more than just one lane, Carl. Just really shows that the drivers have diversity to try to get around here. And it looks like Grady Gherkin giving Trevor Hunt a little show. A good show for it.
So as it stands right now, you can pretty much throw a blanket over the top 7. They are all nose to tail coming down there. A bit of a gap, about 2.5 second gap from 7th back to 8th position right now. Jake Lesh leading the second pack right there, as those guys are pretty much nose to tail all the way back through 14th position. And then the 9.5 second gap back to Tim Glass right now. But these leaders starting to stretch it out. They're in line right now, and that's where they got to be. Jake Lesh leading the second pack, but you already got battling right behind him as you got Alfred on the inside, Mark Thomas on the outside, and looking to follow Alfred on the inside is Scott Bolster, as Alfred gets a little tight coming off the corner, and it's going to be side by side for the 10th, 11th, or actually 9, 10, 11, and 12.
Ooh. We got a little bit loose there. Had enough room to slide up there in front of Mark Thomas, as these guys are coming down the out of 4 down the front stretch. So a lot of heavy racing going on. We'll go back up front here, see what these guys are doing. But the top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 are all nose to tail, just kind of pulling away from the rest of the field.
Trevor Hunt still poking his nose on the inside, thinking about if and when he wants to try and make another move on that 24. Gets a good run coming off turn 4, as a little slippery back behind him.
Yeah,
it is still 24 ahead of the 59.
Yeah, you see Brent just the rear end just come around just a little bit as that happens, and you're just it's sometimes it's pretty hard to, like, you don't get that motion of, you don't feel the call, like when you're driving, you don't get the total feel of the shift in weight all the time, because the only way you can really feel the shift of the cars. One, if you happen to be have the option of having a motion sim, you might get a little bit of movement, but it's sometimes hard to feel in the wheel, and that back end getting loose is just a sign that you push the car just a little bit too hard and starts to go around, and then that's when you need to let off. So it's just a fine line. Try to push that car as hard as you can. But right now, to get it done, it's Andrew Ratcliffe over Trevor Hunt, Grady Gurkin, JP Phillips, Brent Kirby, Justin Kirby, Eric Jeffers for your top 7. Then back there, our next group, Jake Lesh over Scott Bolster, Stuart Alford, Peter Pazuchek, Chris Camidlin, and Jordan Wenzel, and Mark Thomas. And then Tim Glass, a little bit off pace. I didn't quite see what happened to Tim, as he's usually running in the mid backfield there, and just maybe a little troubles early on. Maybe tagged the wall or something, just put him off a little bit off pace.
Yeah, still plenty early in the race right now, and nobody's out of this race at all, as we're only on lap 28 right now. But you want to kind of stay with the pack, and it's not too racy, so you can get comfortable in this pack right now. Obviously, the 18 plenty far back right now, but he's not losing too much time. He's losing a couple tenths a lap right now, and he's really the only one that's falling back that quickly. So worst case scenario, if it ends up being another 20 laps or so and he does get lapped, it's gonna be a while until they start lapping others at this point. But battle now for second as Gurkin dives to the inside, and he is going to make the pass over Trevor Hunt. So now it was Black Magic Motorsports 1, 2, 3. It is now Turn and Burn Motorsports in first and second.
Yeah, and these two teams have been going back and forth all season round. I mean, I'll go ahead and throw up the standings here. You can, oops, wrong ones. The team standing. In the team standings, and you can see that Turn and Burn with the about an 832 point lead over Full Throttle Motorsports, and then you have Black Magic back in third place with 2,724 points. So a little ways back from Turn and Burn, as they've been pretty much dominating a lot of the races. But I think there's still plenty of racing left, Carl, as we're just at that run our 9th race of the season. So about halfway, a little bit over, and still plenty of good racing for weeks to come, and a chance for these guys to gain a lot of points. I'm not sure what the point value is per race that they can receive. I'd have to look more into that or ask Scott himself. But anyways, these guys are out here doing a good job, and right now green for 31 laps so far out of 117. I mean, Carl, these guys are looking good here tonight with some good passes, some good battles, and just kind of keeping it nice and clean and keeping this thing nice and green for us.
Yeah, certainly the way these guys want to do it, and getting a little close to getting out of shape there was Trevor Hunt, but that's really where you got to be if you want to run that bottom line. You got to get it all the way down there at that white line. There's a little extra kind of bonus tacky strip, the way it seems, all the way at the bottom of the turns here at Charlotte. But maybe getting a little bit later in the run here, you're starting to see the true speed here of Andrew Ratcliffe, or the ability to save those tires, as he's starting to check out just a little bit here on Grady Gurkin, and this could be the start of something that may develop into a quite a bigger lead here, as Ratcliffe has certainly been the man to beat this season, as it's just been a lot of week in and week out dominance, and when he's not getting the wins, he's still up there, and maybe just having some issues at the end of the races. But he's got 4 wins on the season out of the first 8 races, so and it's pretty good when you have a 50% win percentage out there. Tommy Ryan with 2 wins, and then Grady Gurkin and Eric Jeffers having the other 2 wins on the season. But yeah, I mean, really the question for the second half of the season is who can get in front of the 24 and stay there.
Yeah, just a little snapshot of the points here for y'all before, and we'll go back to the race real quick. But Andrew Ratcliffe, on top over Grady Gurkin by 136 points, over Eric Jeffers, and then Jacob Lesh, Tim Glass, Stuart Alford, Peter Pazuchik, Justin Kirby, Scott Bolster, Travis Bennett for our top 10 here for the Top Gun Series Championship. And then I'll leave it down there just a few more seconds here so you guys can read through the list. But plenty of drivers out there, some that have been out here multiple nights, or when we are on the air, and some that I've just come up for a race or two. So there's a few drivers that maybe we haven't seen in a little while. Like Christopher Bouchard, he was out here for a couple races. James Carmen, Jeremy Little. I know Jeremy Little was like moving. So, and then Mark Thomas just joined us. So a lot of drivers on the list here. So we have 34 listed, but back to the racing here, as we have Brent Kirby's. We're on Brent Kirby right now, but back out front is Andrew Ratcliffe, and they're stretching out that lead. He's out to a 0.8 second lead over Trevor Hunt and Grady Gherkin, who are continuing to be nose to tail. And I think they're just kind of staying together to keep this thing green. I don't think they're in too much of a battle to go anywhere there, Carl.
No, not at all. These guys are nose to tail, but yeah, Eric Jeffers putting his name up there in the mix, and I haven't really talked about him much this season. It's been a kind of a down season, I think, here for the number 4 here out, and hasn't really played a factor in too many races, and it's kind of a shock after coming off of the great season that he's had in the trucks. In the Man Cave After Dark Truck Series, but does have 1 win on the season. He is 3rd in points, so he's been consistent. He's been, knocking out some decent finishes, but you kind of feel like you're just waiting for that Baby Ruth number 4 to start breaking through and having some good runs. But he's throwing his hat in the mix here. He's just outside the top 5 right now. He's where he wants to be early in this race, as we're just about at a third distance right now.
Yeah, and you want to get a few wins in here, as these guys just run points straight up here for their point system, and the old school way of doing things. And it's consistency can still win you a championship, but when you're consistently first, like Andrew Ratcliffe or a couple of the others, more often than not, that's what you need to keep battling with, is the best guy on the track. So Andrew Ratcliffe definitely has the talent and skill to drive these 87s pretty much on any track. Might not be the fastest for qualifying for every track, but he usually makes his way up to the front along with a few others. You always see, Trevor Hunt's been making his way up there a lot lately, along with the Kirby brothers. You see them in and out. JP Phillips are always doing a fantastic job of putting that number 22 on the pole or on the front row for the most part. Almost reminds me of Jeremy Little in the trucks, the beginning of the truck series, with the Man Cave After Dark truck series that they had last season.
Yeah, I think all the guys from the Black Magic Motorsports, both the Kirbys and Trevor Hunt have had fast cars just about every week, week in and week out. They've been up there towards the front. They've been leading laps. And I almost feel like you need to change that name to Voodoo Motorsports, because they've kind of been the undoing of their own good runs here, as the Kirbys have had their issues. Trevor Hunt has had his issues, some certainly involving other drivers, but a lot of self-inflicted wounds have put them kind of on the back foot, and that's why they're not in the no pun intended hunt in some of the end of these races here. But a good showing so far. Obviously a great showing in qualifying, going 1, 2, 3, and still sticking around up there, as they are 3 of them in the top 6 right now, 2nd and 3rd, and then at 6th place for Brent Kirby, as we've got our first taker into pit road, and Stuart Alford brings the 72 in there. Not sure if this is a scheduled pit stop or if I seen damage on that right side of the car, so I'm not 100% sure, as we've seen
he definitely has some damage
here.
And I'm gonna back here around, let's see, the only thing I have is somewhere around Mark Thomas, or when Mark Thomas passed him. Hoping that might have been where it was that happened. So let's see if I can rewind it just a little bit. Click on Stuart Alford.
Yeah, both these guys are running pretty high up into the
there it is.
Yep, getting a little bit loose and slapping the wall. But I wonder what might have happened even before this, because both these guys were running up toward the front of the that second pack right there, and you see both these guys kind of falling back. So I don't know if it's just the tires really kind of falling off the edge here in the back half of the run, or what the case is. But both these guys fell back quite a bit from the pack, and it leads to the 72 now coming out of pit road, taking his first service here on the night on lap 41. Gonna be very, very sketchy if he can get that thing all the way to the end from here. So he'd certainly love to see a caution here in the second half of the race to kind of get back on schedule with everybody else. But it is Andrew Ratcliffe out front, and what I mentioned earlier is coming to fruition, and that is the 24 now starting to come alive, starting to check out to about a 1.5 second lead over Justin Kirby, who's now in second place. Eric Jeffers in third, Grady Gherkin, Trevor Hunt falling back into fifth position, Brent Kirby in sixth, JP Phillips, Scott Bolster, Peter Przuchek, and Jake Lesh, your top 10. And then Wenzel, Camidlin, Thomas, Glass, and Alfred round out to your guys still in the running. Alfred now down one lap after the pit stop. Matt Foster and Felipe Ramos are 16th and 17th and have retired.
Yeah, and you can see Eric Jeffers, moving up into that P number 3. Kind of like we were talking about, saving them tires. These guys here are going on a longer green flag run as we're 46 laps into 117. So, a little over a third of the way done. So, yeah. Right?
Yep.
Public math,
Yes.
right? Yes.
A little over halfway. Yeah, exactly. Or, I'm sorry, a little over a third of the way.
third, yeah, okay.
Now you're rubbing off here now. Ignorant by proxy here, okay.
Right. So, but anyways, a little over a third of the way done, and we're talking about coming up on that halfway mark. Is somebody going to make that decision? Are they going to hit the halfway mark and come in just to see where they stand? And I guess a good sign of that would be Stuart Alford. See what kind of laps that he's doing, as you can see him coming up behind Trevor Hunt right now. So see how much faster he is compared to the other guys out there. As of right now, Stuart Alford is, look at this last lap here. I need to pull this something up. Lap history. Go back to Stuart Alford. But yes, definitely. Obviously, he's it's over almost 2 seconds faster than Tim Glass, back there in 13th spot. So gaining some serious times, but probably looking at the 30, into 32s where these guys are running 34s. So yeah, almost 2 seconds faster.
Yeah, he's, just that last lap, he ran a 33.09 with the leader running a 34.28. So even about a second and a half faster than your leader here at the moment. So the new tires, and I'm sure probably a little bit repairs done on that car as well, is certainly helping him in terms of fast laps, as that time a little bit slower, but still a 33.2, and that's still a second faster than your leader. Mark Thomas also making his pit stop as he comes out now, pitting on lap number 45, and yeah, 32s are certainly possible as he runs a 32.87. Most of these guys, their fastest lap is kind of a mid-32 range, and the speeds that they're running right now are low 34s, so they're about 1 3/4 seconds off of their true race pace. So the tires are starting to slowly wear off here as we're on lap number 50 of 117.
It's really, like I said, I'm just really interested in see who's going to take that gamble, who's going to pit halfway, who's going to run their tank out. It's really a gambling game here, and going green this long. As you can see, when Stuart Alford did come in, he went down a lap. So
as
did Mark Thomas. Yeah, so it's not something that especially taking 4 tires here, and if for some reason you get put lap down and you take, it's gonna take a little time to get your lap back, but depending on who stays out. So if one of the front runners here right behind Andrew, say Eric Jeffers stayed out and Ratcliffe went in, it could and a caution happened, it could really put a dampener on Andrew Ratcliffe being a lap down. and it took a little bit for him to get back and around, and hopefully another caution to happen. So,
well, that's really what you're kind of hoping for is it's a track here tonight that you can make passes. So it's not like you're necessarily doing it for track position. So if you're looking to to gain some track position, you take the short pit, you're going to be a lot faster than the leader and everybody else that you were battling around, and it'll give you a chance to make those passes for free. But if they go longer, the longer that they go, the faster that they're going to be when they come out compared to you, and you can reel that time back in. So it kind of washes out in the end, depending on where the pit stops fall, and given the fact that if these guys can actually run to 75, you can probably split this race right in half and start making your pit stops at that point. So I think if I'm Andrew Ratcliffe, I'm just kind of keeping an eye on the guys behind me, and maybe making a pit stop a lap or two after them, if unless he actually wants to come in a little bit earlier. But right now, out to a 2.6 second lead, so there's nothing wrong with that 24.
Yeah, the magic number being 59 for the halfway mark, so just over the halfway mark, because it's hard to split a odd number in half. But
you hit that Windows button and you hit the calculator, didn't you?
No, I did that all for my head.
By head, you mean you got out your phone and you went to the calculator.
I have no future electronics up in this booth at all. I don't know what you're talking about with my 5, 6, 7 speeds. I'm almost tempted to get another laptop. I'm serious.
just to calculate. That's it.
My wife's already on me. That contraption out there that you got, it takes up a 6x6 area. Yes, it's my dome of heaven, I guess you'll call it.
Listen, Covert family, if you want to help him, if you want to get him something that's going to help him out with broadcasting, and maybe even with his racecraft, just go out to you can even go to the dollar store, get him a calculator. You want to get a little something special, you go for the TI, calculators, and you can even do a little trigonometry while he's trying to figure out his fuel strategy.
Yeah, let's not talk about trigonometry. I didn't do very good in that one. I did good all the way up to about geometry, and then after that, when they started like, "Hey, you need to take trig," and I was like, "What am I going to use that for? Here, take it." It's like a half a year. Yeah, I failed it. It was horrible. I guess I didn't like the teacher very well, and I didn't need it to graduate, so I didn't put much effort in it as a kid. I probably should have, but because I loved math, I just did not love that teacher, but ended up failing it. So don't do what I did, folks. So study and turn in your homework.
Yeah, I definitely hear you on that one. Like I always love math myself, and I could get behind calculus a little bit, but yeah, the trigonometry and then things like that. Like geometry, sure. Yep. Give me a shape, give me some shapes. I can do that, but you want to know, the measurement of the shapes and stuff. All right, well, give me a ruler. I'll measure it. That's what you're gonna get. You start getting into some crazy stuff, I'm out. And thankfully, we got a lot of programs out here that calculate the fuel for us. Because if I had to try and sit there and figure out, okay, I'm getting 0.8 gallons to a lap, and I got that, forget it. I'm out. Let me run up a program here that's going to just calculate it for me, because I'm not going to be paying attention. And half the time, you can't really trust these fuel calculators either. You still have to use a little bit of math and a little bit of common sense to see where you're going to finish out on those last couple laps. And we've seen some guys struggle with that and run out of fuel towards the end of the race, or even run out of fuel towards the end of a long green flag run and have to limp it back into pits, and it really cost them the race. But right now we've got a nice size gap in between first and second, but then we got some pit stops now happening as Brent Kirby is going to peel off from that front group, and will be the first one to hit pit lane here on lap number 60. So pretty much splitting this thing right in half like we talked about. Will this trigger a chain of guys coming into the pits now, as Jordan Wetzel is going to come in and join him as well? We'll see if anybody else from that top 10 makes the move this time by.
Now, Carl, I mean, I know, like, you see right now, Andrew Ratcliffe just walking away from everybody, and I talked about it earlier. This wasn't a track that you had to depend on a teammate or a partner to come in and draft together to be super fast, as you see Andrew Ratcliffe kind of walking away. But Is this a track that you prefer to come in with somebody and just to have that little bit of draft or that teammate or somebody to chase to make yourself faster here around Charlotte?
No, I mean to me, I kind of like Charlotte just by myself. Just put me out there by myself. I don't want somebody in front of me. I don't want. I especially don't want somebody in front of me because the aero wash on some of these cars is just ungodly, and I don't want any kind of chance at any kind of aero wash and using up the tires a little bit too much just to kind of stay behind that guy. I don't really want to be right in front of somebody either, because even if you're working together, you still kind of feel that pressure. You still kind of feel that breathing down the back of your neck kind of thing. So at a track like Charlotte, I'm more than happy to just pit by myself, and even if it's going to cost me a half a tenth a lap, I'm fine with that. That's fine. I'd rather just be out there by myself and kind of clicking off laps. And that's what you see right now from Andrew Ratcliffe, as most of these guys starting to make their way into pit lane, and it's only the top 4 left out there, as that's Andrew Ratcliffe, Grady Gherkin, Peter Berzuchek, who moves into 3rd, and Jake Lesh have yet to pit. The rest of the field has already pitted or is in the pits right now.
And Peter, you're doing a great job again here, as he's been doing really good in the points. It's moving up in that 3rd spot. Yeah, it's on like a fuel strategy part, but this is all part of racing, and to keep his car clean, safe, and to have enough fuel, it's stretching tires out. Like I said, I couldn't do it last week. Like, I applaud these guys, and hopefully one day I might be able to run a full tank of gas on one set of tires without burning the living daylights out of them. I guess it's bad, like when you do, you do officials and you got multiple sets of tires, and there's always cautions, or you join a league and you do like half fuel tank loads, so you have forcing everybody to pit, but there's no you can't speed up the wear and tear on tires. So it's something that I wish me and you have talked about this before, that if we could be able to shorten up the races, but double the wear kind of like on the tires to kind of simulate like a half a race, so you can have like a shorter race and have the drivers worry about tires.
And I feel like it's got to be something that they should easily be able to calculate. I understand you want to keep the realism in here. This is a simulator, not an arcade game, but in the same case, there's so many parameters that you can change and you can curtail to how you want it to begin with. I'm not asking for them to do it, in official races, when you have the half distance race or anything like that. That's fine. Keep those official and keep those, realistic. I'm totally fine with that. But if I want to create a league, that's a parameter that I should be able to tweak and should be able to change. Whether it's, I'm running a half distance race, so I'm going to make it 50% fuel to make the the pit stops happen a little bit more often. I should be able to make it 2x on the wear. And if I'm doing a quarter length, I should be able to make it 4x. And it's, they already have everything coded in there, how the tires wear, and do this, if you make this turn, you put this much stretch on the tires. It's already coded in there how everything is going to work when it comes to wear and tear. Just have it ×2 for everything. I mean, I'm not a programmer, I'm not a coder, so I can't say it's that easy, but I guess it's geometry and trigonometry all over again.
It's just one thing I don't think iRacers really think about. Like, you want me to tell iRacing to make my tires wear faster? I mean, not something you usually want to tell somebody, but as league owners or even somebody, just helping you out, like I said, I agree. It just, when you run or you have all the parameters, we can set the time of day to be twice as fast. Why can't I make the tires wear down twice as fast too? So there's something for iRacing to think about, and if somebody's out there from iRacing and you hear this, there's just a suggestion from a couple league, people that run the league, and just that we do shorter races, and wouldn't mind seeing something in that effect where you can kind of, if you have a half race, you can use only half tanks, and you can double basically wear on your tires and make the drivers actually, instead of trying to double stint tires and try to pull away with stuff, and actually make them change their tires. But right now, pit stops are, looks like, about completed, as Jake Lesh, I think, is the last one to come in. But you can see how the undercut of Brent Kirby has panned out right now, Carl.
Yeah, I
He
mean, if you were
is.
taking a look at the standings, you had Mark Thomas. We were talking about him. You know what happened to him and Stuart Alford as they were way back there. Stuart Alford just got into the wall, and they were way towards the back in about I think 14th to 15th. I think they were dead last in the field. All of a sudden, they come into pits first. They're in there in the pits on. Let's see, Alford was in on lap 41, and Mark Thomas was in there on lap 45. Those guys were all the way up in the top 5 at one point, and now the guys that already pits after them, 20 laps later, their tires are 20 laps fresher. So they're starting to make those passes, and they're starting to drop back down the field. So it's one of those things where, again, as I was mentioning before, you take the short pit. It's going to get you that track position. Like right now for Brent Kirby, he's up there. He's got that track position, but it's just a matter of time till those 7-lap newer tires of Andrew Ratcliffe close in on him and make that pass. So you want the short pit, but then 15 maybe laps into that run, you want to caution so you can get back on the same strategy as everybody else. So it's kind of a give and take here, but he's got the lead right now, and maybe that's what he's comfortable with. Maybe he just want to get out there. He knows Ratcliffe can run him down, but he's got a pretty sizable lead on his brother Justin as well.
Yeah, it's just one thing to happen, and if a caution were to come out right now, basically it'd be on Brent Kirby to make the call whether to come in. And I'm sure right now, even though the guys that just came in, we're over halfway. They've only made one pit stop, with the exception, even Stuart Alford was in on lap 41. He's only been in once so far. I'm sure we'll see him in again to finish this race up, as he probably has enough fuel to make it the whole way. But kind of back in your mind, whether they're gonna want to take tires or what, or how they have this thing play out. But I think they're actually good to go for the rest of the time, and it'll be quite amazing to see Stuart Alford and Mark Thomas to see how far they fall back, and two, if they can make those tires from their first pit stop last and be pretty decent. I think they'll be pretty easy on the car. I just don't know how good they'll be and how far they're going to drop back, as they're already in the 8th and 9th spot. It looks like Andrew Ratcliffe has gotten around Brent Kirby now. We'll go ahead and we'll take a look at that pass.
And you see, just 7-lap newer tires, but also the fact that the 24, just has that raw pace in the car as well. But easy as you like, right around the outside on the backstretch, and gonna have the speed to just go ahead and clear him going into turn number 3 right there. So new leader, same as the old leader here, as the 24 resumes the lead and already stretched out to over a 1-second lead. We're here on lap 74, which means we are over halfway through this race, and it's about time to crank these guys up and give you a little love to hear it.
Love to hear it.
Yeah, certainly don't blame him at this point. He's going to need some help to get back up into the mix of things. But real surprised at the 57 of Brent Kirby. He's obviously shown he has pace here tonight, but the fact that he's able to kind of maintain that gap. You know, I figured since he came in there on lap 59, some of these other guys pitting a few laps later, that they'd be able to reel him in a little bit quicker, but he's still out there and he's maintaining a 4 1/4 second lead over right now Justin Kirby, who passes Eric Jeffers. But third, fourth, fifth, and sixth, you can throw a blanket over them, as they are certainly in a battle. You've seen it kind of over and over again in the love to hear it section here, but you see them right there. And these guys aren't going anywhere. They've certainly made plenty of passes back and forth here in the second half of this race, and it's coming down now, as we are down now to 32 laps left in this race. So it's getting to that point, Jimmy, where I think you really need to start figuring out where you have the pace in this car and how you're going to make some passes. But you still need to worry about saving those tires, because you can push real hard right now and you're going to be dead in the water at the end. He was actually in on lap 59. It was Justin Kirby that was in on lap 61. Yeah, but I mean, yeah, 7-lap tire. You see, you know, a lot of times 1 or 2 lap difference on tires is big, and that's where I'm kind of shocked. Like I said, Brent Kirby coming in on 59, Justin Kirby coming in on 61, but they're not only are they not eating into the gap from third to second, but it's actually growing a bit, as it's out now to almost 5 1/4 seconds, as the battle between third, fourth, fifth, and even a little bit there for sixth is has been heating up enough that they're battling each other enough, and it's allowing that 57 machine to stretch out a little bit. But out front, it is and actually I'm mistaken now that I'm just looking at it. It's actually 5.2 seconds up to Andrew Ratcliffe, so that's the gap that is growing, but it's still a 1.7 second lead here from second to third. So a great job from Brent Kirby, but he's got to be worried right now, Jimmy, because it's getting towards the end of this race. It's starting to be go time. Never know. I'm telling you, if
I asked for it. I've talked to Justin just personally. I was like, can you just do Carl a favor and just put your nose on your brother's back bumper?
Just saying,
just once.
The storylines would write themselves. It would just be that simple. But now, I mean, these guys, I can't say enough about Black Magic Motorsports here tonight, as started 1, 2, 3, and they're running 2, 3, 4 right now, and that's a fantastic run. So hopefully these guys can finish it out. We are down to now 27 laps to go, 26 laps to go, as Andrew Ratcliffe already passed the line. And I mean, fantastic race by these guys. I can't say enough, and not just for Black Magic, but for every racer out there. A couple of issues for the guys from Inca Salsa Racing, and even from Stuart Alford back there for once or twice getting it mixing up a little bit here. But other than that, we've seen these guys stuck to the track and not really getting into any kind of issues here at all, and it's kept this thing green now for 92 laps. And I mean, this again, it's Charlotte. It usually puts on good races, it usually stretches out, and that helps put on good races, but it's still a hell of a feat with these 87 cars.
Yeah, these cars. We talk about it every week about conserving tires. These guys do drive with a full tank of fuel. These guys do have the opportunity to push these cars that far if they can on them tires, and they did it back in the day, and it's hard. It's difficult because you want to go faster, Carl, and everything you think is you're doing right is, to me, it ends up being wrong, and I burn up the front tire. So I'd have to at least stop this race because the front tires are just I just destroy them, and there's really something that hopefully one day will click, or somebody will teach me the ways or the trick to save the tire just a little bit better and still be fast.
Yeah, if you hear some tricks, let me know, because I'm not exactly the king of saving tires myself. I mean, I was even on a pro team for a while and tried to learn their ways. It still wasn't sticking.
Ooh, Stuart, Alpha Lincoln.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the what the ultimate trick is. I know what you got to do, and I feel like I do it, and I feel like it doesn't work.
Yeah,
it doesn't help me out.
I feel like when I do it on the slowest guy on the track, and I don't even belong out there. Like, I'm that slow. It just, like, it doesn't feel right. It doesn't. I try to watch the delta, and it just confuses me even more. So, like I said, maybe one day I'll pay for some lessons, or so maybe somebody out there knows, and they can. I'll hook them up with a couple broadcasts or something for some lessons on how to get fast or something.
There you go. Teach me.
But right now, the guy that doesn't need to be taught is Andrew Ratcliffe, as he's stretching that lead out there once again, out to almost 7 seconds over Brent Kirby, which he just broke 7 seconds right now. You got Brent Kirby in second, Trevor Hunt's in third, Justin Kirby back there in P number 4, and Eric Jeffers in 5. So these guys are battling, but it looks like Brent Kirby is going to just move out of the way, as his tires have probably seen their life cycle and just need to ride it out the best he can and get that good finish. But Trevor Hunt is going to take P number 2, and Justin Kirby is going to slide into P number 3, and Eric Jeffers is also going to get by and move up into P number 4. So Brent Kirby starting to slide back as he's starting to see them tires wear off.
I talked about, driving around behind somebody for a while can certainly give you some issues with the aero push, but I'm guessing that these guys just aren't dealing with that here tonight, because that second, third, fourth, and fifth battle has been just really, really close for the longest time now, and to run this close this long on a track other than Daytona and Talladega it's kind of unheard of. I mean, I expected these guys to all kind of stretch out, all find their spots here and there, but these guys have been kind of nose to tail for probably 20, 30 laps at this point, pretty much ever since the last set of pit stops, and doing a great job. There's certainly been some passing back and forth, but nobody is stretching out from anybody other than your leader just starting to walk away here. But Trevor Hunt now back into second, Justin Kirby in third, Eric Jeffers fourth, Brent Kirby rounding out your top 5 with Gherkin, Phillips, Bolster, Lesh, and Mark Thomas rounding out your top 10. But we are now on lap 100, so we've got 18 laps remaining here at Charlotte.
And talk about the setups and the closest of drivers, and a lot of it goes down to drivers' talent and skill. But a guy that maybe goes unrecognized sometimes, but I know the guys that thank him on a weekly basis, is Scott Bolster. He's the league manager, and he does a great job about keeping everybody in line. He does the points. He does the AFES report, which is their incident report, to see who's at fault and holds people accountable. But he also makes the setups, Carl. He spends a little bit of time on the track. He drives real cars and some race cars in real life, and I think he likes just doing the setups as a part of iRacing. And after talking to Scott just a little bit here and there, and he says it does help. iRacing does help with real life stuff. Not 100% obviously, but keeping you familiar and just kind of fresh on different tracks and turning in and exiting and stuff like that. He says a lot of it transposes over, and it's just a good a good tool to use, especially when you can't be on the track every single week or every single weekend.
Yeah, and you want to talk about me not being able to save tires. I am that much worse at trying to figure out a setup. I cannot set up a car. I will be the first and last one to tell you. No, don't ask me to set up a car at all. The extent of me setting up a car is
complaining about it.
So I can complain like a mofo about it. Just ask Mark Thomas when it comes to any of our endurance setups. As we were just working on the Watkins-Glen 6-hour one earlier today, and finally got it to where it's nice and comfy. But I mean, the extent of me setting up a car is tweaking the brake bias and taking out fuel. That's about the extent of what I know about setting up a car. Is I can make it go faster because I can take out fuel. So yeah, suck it.
It will go faster, but it does get tighter, which doesn't
Absolutely.
equal a fast car for you. So I don't know what you're doing that makes it faster.
Listen, on 1 lap speed, damn it,
okay.
it's faster.
Oh, green tires, after they warm up.
I can make a race setup into a qualifying setup just like that. All right. But yeah, I mean, all in all, it takes a lot. I'm sure a lot of it is knowledge from his real life experiences here, and that certainly helps out. But you still got to put in the laps because you may know exactly how a car should handle if you make this change or that change. But I mean, you see it in real life. Real life they make a wedge adjustment or make a tire pressure adjustment, and it doesn't work. So you still have to get out there and put in the hours to get these setups to where it's drivable for these guys. And obviously, Scott bingoed this setup here tonight as we are now 105 laps of green flag racing.
Yeah, and I'm sure these guys are thrilled here tonight. I mean, some probably more than others, as maybe they're not in a position they want to be, or they burned up their tires a little too fast, and maybe just looking for that little bit of relief with a caution flag, maybe mid-race, or especially here at the end with maybe the opportunity to steal a win away from Andrew Ratcliffe, as we've seen happen in the past, as he's lost some races due to unfortunate events other than his own. But yeah, right now he's got a almost 8-second gap over Trevor Hunt, and then Justin Kirby back in third, Eric Jeffers, Brett Kirby for your top 5, Grady Gherkin, JP Phillips, Scott Bolster, Jake Lesh, and Mark Thomas for your top 10. Chris Camidlin, Jordan Wenzel, Tim Glass, Peter Pazuchek, Stuart Alford for your top 15. Then Matt Foster and Felipe Ramos out for tonight, but us finishing up our 17-car field here. So another good race so far by the Top Gun series here at UCRL.
I'm going to line this time by. It will be 10 laps remaining here and almost an 8-second lead here for Andrew Ratcliffe. The closest competitors right here, second and third, Trevor Hunt and Justin Kirby. Eric Jeffers starting to fall off the back of this pack here a little bit, as he's about 0.7 of a second back here in 4th position. And then another 0.7 of a second back to Brent Kirby in 5th place. So clearly it took a little bit for those tires to finally wear in on that 57, but he is starting to slip back now. He is still in a good firm position here in 5th place. So as he's got a 2.5-second lead over Grady Gherkin back there in 6th place. JP Phillips another 1.5 seconds back in 7th. Scott Bolster then another 7 seconds back in 8th. Jake Lesh is about 2 more seconds back in 9th, and then another 2.5 seconds back to Mark Thomas, rounding out your top 10. But it's been all the 24 here tonight of Andrew Ratcliffe. As if this thing stays green, it's pretty much a lock for win number 5 out of 9. So the 50% win percentage is going to go even higher, and it's not what these guys wanted to see to kind of continue with the second half of this season and the dominance that Andrew Ratcliffe has put on. And from what I've been seeing, is he's putting on kind of the same clinic over in the Gen 4 cars as well. Just a great talent, and I guess when you get those wins over him, you gotta feel good because you beat a good one out there.
Yeah, he's definitely a talented driver, and you can learn a lot from him if you can get behind him for a few laps and kind of pick up his lines and hopefully figure out how his steering inputs are along with his throttle control to basically get that car to get around pretty much any track at a good clip. But you can learn anything from any of these guys. You know, anybody from like Andrew Ratcliffe can even learn from the guy on the back. So that's what I like about iRacing and the camaraderie that you have when you join a league or you get to know some people. Is that a lot of people are willing to share. Maybe not so much in the public forum. Like if you're trying to get on Facebook and ask questions, that's probably a no-no. But you get just trampled on there. But once you get into a league and you meet some people, a lot of people will open up and share and kind of what works for them. But what works for somebody else might not work for you, and that's what it goes through with a lot of setups. As you heard Carl talking earlier about him and Mark are going back and forth, and I've worked with Mark and Carl with setups before, and I was usually the mediator in the middle to kind of get the happy medium, because you have a setup for Carl and then just flip it upside down and reverse it, and then that's Mark's setup. So that's how I usually worked for Carl and Mark. But right now, the guy that's really rocking the setup from Scott Bolster is Andrew Ratcliffe, as he is up to over 8-second lead over Trevor Hunt, Justin Kirby, Eric Jeffers, Brent Kirby for your top 5 here at Charlotte.
Yeah, and 5 is the magic number here. 5 laps to go in the race here before we are done with race number 9 here for the Top Gun Cup. Just to give you a quick idea of what we have going on from here, as we've got, again, Dover next week with another nice long race, 150 laps there at the concrete 1 mile track seen over by Miles the Monster. And we got Pocono, so we're keeping it in the northeast for a nice little run here. As you got Dover, followed by Pocono, followed by Watkins Glen. So get to keep the haulers up here in the northeast for 6 straight weeks. And then
it's summertime. I would want to be up north too.
Head out to Michigan for race number 13. 14 is going to be at Phoenix, and then finally finishing it up at Atlanta Motor Speedway. But we have now got 3 laps to go here for Ratcliffe before he claims another victory. Still pretty close battle for second place. Trevor Hunt has got it. Justin Kirby is right there, though, just waiting for a slip up. Other than that, the battles are pretty much stationary as is, and maybe Brent Kirby can try and hang on to the back of Eric Jeffers, but he's been stretching it just ever so slightly away. But Justin Kirby now trying to get around his teammate. Will there be any kind of race control between the teammates here, or is it just boys let them race?
I think it is at this point. They're pretty solid in where they're going to finish here, and I think the last lap, the gloves are off, and see if Justin can get around Trevor Hunt. But Trevor's been running a fantastic race, and I'm sure he has no intentions of letting that 58 by.
Well, we're about to find out, as we've got 1.5 laps left here to decide second and third right now. These guys both hold down a podium position, but within the team, there's going to be that little bit of bragging rights. We'll see if Justin Kirby can get around Trevor Hunt's white flag in the air. 1 more to go here at Charlotte. Easy lead up here for Andrew Ratcliffe, as he's just kind of controlling it as he's out there to a 7.8 second lead now as he heads into turn number 3. But coming off onto the backstretch.
Little switch by Hunt
for the 58. Can he reel in the 59 of Hunt? Not quite there just yet. Maybe one more chance here coming off of turn 4. Ratcliffe gonna take the checker flag, battle to the line for second place. And it's gonna be even closer, under 1/10 of a second, but Trevor Hunt is gonna hold off Justin Kirby for second place. Kirby gonna finish in third. Eric Jeffers, Brent Kirby rounding out your top 5. JP Phillips, Scott Bolster, Jake Lesh, Chris Comedlin getting in there in 10th place. Mark Thomas, Jordan Wenzel, Peter Brzucek, Tim Glass, Stuart Alford round out your cars that were still running at the end. And then Matt Foster and Felipe Ramos out early in the race for your 17 car field. But I got to tell you, the one thing that really surprised me, Jimmy, and it goes to show you how much talent here is in the race. Ratcliffe pretty much dominated this race. I think we can both agree on that, and finished with almost an 8-second lead. But only 4 guys finished 1 lap down. So it's not like he just went up through this field and, there's only 5 guys left on the lead lap. I think that was pretty special.
Yeah, he did. These guys, I guess I raced with them on the other Tuesday nights that we don't broadcast. And it's in the Gen 4 cars, and there's a lot of similarities, but obviously it's a newer car. And but anyways, it's a lot of the same drivers, and just have a fantastic time out here driving with these guys. You learn a lot, you see a lot, you have a good time, and just have great racing. And it doesn't surprise me at all to see another great race here by UCRL here, especially with the Top Gun series, Top Gun Cup. So congratulations to Andrew Ratcliffe, Trevor Hunt, and Justin Kirby for your podium finishes. And everybody else that comes out and shows up and tries their best to try to one day, hopefully they either get a flat tire or they just figure out what they know already and get faster. So it's going to be a good one for the rest of the season, as Carl already went down the list of tracks that are coming up in the future. But the next one on I think the docket you said was Dover, the Monster Mile, correct?
That is correct, and that's going to be next week. Great run here by Andrew Ratcliffe. We're going to go ahead and bring in our top 3. And Jimmy, I'll let you start it off here. We'll start with our 3rd place finisher here, and that is the 58 of Justin Kirby.
Hey, Justin, Jimmy, and Carl up in the booth. You copy?
Yeah, I got a copy.
Hey, buddy, it's been a little while, and you and Brent starting 1-3 at the start. Carl had this big glimmer in his eye and a smile, hoping that for some first lap calamity between you two, but you let him down. But you didn't let yourself down. You came away with a 3rd place finish tonight. Why don't you give us a little rundown on how everything went for you?
Basically the most aggressive, most conservatively aggressive race that you could possibly imagine was what you guys just saw right there. Because everyone was trying, everybody in the lead group was just doing everything they could to save their stuff. But yet, as soon as you tried to make a move and you slid the tires a little bit, you'd kill the tires, and then those are the guys that started to fall back. So it was damned if you do, damned if you didn't. If you tried to make a move mid pack there.
Yeah, and you guys did a great job. And I was wondering if there's any earlier, saved any drivers that saved really early for the end of the run, as I know that sometimes you get the people out there, you got the adrenaline going, you want to win, you want to get the best position, and then all of a sudden, like you said, then tires fall off and you just get punished for it. Your brother did a great job did a little short pit, coming a little earlier, and everybody else came out. He had to lead for a little bit, but then there's only them 6 or 7 lap difference, and he was he fell back through the field just a little bit, allowing you to finish in front of your brother this race. But he had a pretty good race as he finished in that 5th position, but definitely not on the podium like yourself. So anyways, we wanted to give you the time and say congratulations, and give you the time and opportunity for any shouts that you may have.
I'll just say thanks to the guys, team, Brent, Trevor, Tommy. He's at the beach today. Hi, Tommy. Hope you're having fun. I hate you. Anyway, I know Jeff didn't make it tonight either, but thanks to him for coming out and running with us too. And thanks to you guys for putting on another broadcast for us, and thanks to Scott for putting on the league and putting up with us.
Well, again, congratulations, and we'll go ahead and let you celebrate with the rest of the team, and maybe give Tommy and Jeff a holler and spoil their troubles, letting them know that you finished on the podium tonight.
Yeah, 10-4 will do. Thank you.
All right, night.
All right, that's your 3rd place finisher here tonight, the 58 of Justin Kirby. Now we switch over to his teammate that finished 2nd here, the 59 of Trevor Hunt. And Trevor, a great night for the team here. I mean, obviously you guys starting on the front row and 1, 2, 3 all together, and you come away with the 2nd, 3rd, and 5th. So for the team, it's got to feel like a great accomplishment here. But it seemed like as easy was the pass here. Justin kind of mentioned about you kind of had to take your passes with a grain of salt here, because as soon as you went to make a pass, you're going to be burning up those tires. So tell me what it was out there that kind of made this thing so difficult, or was it just for the fact that green flag run actually kind of hurt you guys for chances to make some crazy passes?
Yeah, no. So the core race really helped a lot. I knew that tires were going to be important. And yeah, right. And so I knew going in I was going to have to save them, and I did exactly what you were talking about. Justin mentioned is, I made some passes early trying to get by some of those guys that I let go right there at the start, and kind of, used my tires up a little more than I should have there at the beginning. And I fell back, learned from that, made the stops, and then just kind of, was conservative with them there at the end. And it kind of paid off for me. The fact we went green flag to flag is awesome. And I've just been waiting for one of those, because that's my strong suit. It's like if I can get a good, long race with long green flag runs, I'm going to be competitive. And so I'm just super excited with second. So, yeah.
Well, and that's really what kind of my next question was going to be is we're kind of wondering when that 59 was going to come alive. I mean, I mentioned probably about halfway through the race, all three of you guys in Blackmagic Motorsports, you've had the pace, and you've had cars up there, you've had even laps led, but it seems like one thing or another, something bites you in the end, and it's kind of shocking to see you that far down in the points this season, all the way down at 15th coming in here. Yeah, you missed a couple starts, but the fact that this is your first top 5 of the season, I mean, just tell us what that kind of means to you, to finally just crack through and get a top 5 here.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it's just getting clean races. I've been very fast and very competitive at a lot of places. Darlington was one place where I was running up front. Bristol, and then we had some net code contact with Grady there. That would have been, a probably top another podium. It was, I was surrounded by those guys too on that team. So, who knows, I might've been on the outside looking in. But yeah, it's a huge deal. The racing's starting to slow down for me now. My first race back was the truck back at the beginning of the early part of the truck season last year, and that was after 11-year hiatus. So it's taken some time to kind of get back in the groove. But it's the speed's been there. It's just been like either strategy or not knowing what the hell iRacing's rules are. I've gotten bit a couple of times by like the bogus green flag thing when I came into the pits and got a black flag to repair. Stuff like that. But this is a big one for me. Next thing is a win, hopefully. So
I got to ask, I'm sure I already know the answer here, as you guys battling all the way down to the last lap there and right at the line, but no team orders. I'm assuming, you guys were just free to battle it out to the end there, correct?
We don't do team orders at all. I thought Justin was just hanging back and like, you're going to get one, Trevor. And I mentioned that at the end, and he's like, no, dude, you don't realize how good you were running tonight. So, I mean, nobody had anything for Andrew there, but second on back. Yeah, we were awesome. It was fun. So,
well, a great run for you. And I think I need to emphasize that as you get the 59 up here into the top 5 and all the way up to the runner-up position here in second place. So good job for you. Great job for the team here tonight, Blackmagic Motorsports. So before we let you go, anybody you want to give a shout out to or thanks to?
Scott, the guys that are running this league with us, this was a great race. As far as just green flag running, lots of give and take out there. We were letting each other go. And that really made for some good fun racing for me. I know some people like that, those yellow flag restarts and shit. Not my thing. But yeah. And then the guys, Blackmagic, Justin, Brent, Tommy, Jeff, all those guys are awesome. We put a few hours a weekend to prep for these races, and it does pay off. So, which also makes when you do well even more frustrating. So
yeah. Exactly. Yeah, I was just going to say that that's something that it kind of bites you as well. But it worked out here tonight, and you guys had a great finish here. So we'll let you go, and hopefully this starts the second half of the season for you guys, and we can see you up here in the booth more often.
Fingers crossed.
That your third place finisher here tonight, the 59 of Trevor Hunt, and now finally, Jimmy, the man of the hour, will bring in your winner here, the 24 of Andrew Ratcliffe.
Hey, Andrew, Jimmy Carlton, a booty copy.
Yeah, I got a copy, Jimmy. What's up?
Hey, not much, buddy. I mean, just another week, another interview with you up here in the booth as you just continue to put dominance on these fellow drivers and showing them how to get it done. And I think the big thing tonight is the full green flag run from start to finish. As there was a few folks that maybe had a self spin, but were able to keep the car down off the track and keep this thing green. And you're able to just show these folks how to get it done, save tires, and be fast, and put a dominant show on here tonight. So why don't you give us a little rundown on what your strategy was, and how it felt to run 117 laps under green.
Felt great. I think Justin had the best phrase that night, conservatively aggressive. I feel like made a good balance on doing that. I just like a loose setup, and this setup was definitely on the loose side. And I don't know. It just was comfortable. I didn't go all out in the beginning of the race. I think it took me probably 23 laps to get to the lead, but after I started to run down JP at the time, and then Brent too, and then I executed a green flag stop perfectly. Well, I probably could have gotten in the box a little bit better, but I was just kind of paranoid because I overdrove the box the last time we were in these cars. So other than that, I mean, I couldn't have asked for a better race.
Yeah, definitely one of the better races you guys have had is so far this season, and to put the cherry on top and put that number 24 in the winner's circle here, just gonna put another added points to your lead for the season championship. But next week is the concrete 1 mile cereal bowl that I've been to many of times in my childhood, the Monster Mile of Dover. So how you feeling about next week and the challenges that track brings to you?
I love Dover. Dover is a good track for me. I can't tell you if I've run it in these cars. I'm probably gonna have to do a little more practice than I did for this one. I really didn't. I only ran like 20 laps just to kind of get a feel of where I wanted the brake bias at, and I just kind of figured it out quickly. But yeah, Dover, I'm probably gonna have to run a few practice laps to kind of dial it in there and see what I really. Because I don't know what to expect. I know I've got to watch out for. You got to watch out for the 4 there. That is his track. When it comes to Dover, Eric Jeffers is the man. I mean, I think in the truck series this past year, he lapped the entire field. He's very good there, and got to watch out for him.
We'll definitely be watching, since you've said watch out for Eric Jeffers. He's been clawing around back there as he'll be up front, he'll slide to the back, and he'll claw his way back at the front as he finished in just off the podium tonight there in P number 4. So having a good finish, but he's starting to show signs of he's getting kind of hungry. So if that's his favorite track, it might take warning, like you said, and look out, or maybe get with him and learn a thing or two, as he's I'm sure he's going to try to put it to you guys next week as he's chomping at the bits to get on that podium and possibly a win. But with either case, we wanted to say congratulations from me and Carl up here in the booth, and see how your race went for you, and also give you this opportunity and time for any thanks or anything that you'd like to say.
Yeah, big shout out to Scott. He did a great job on the setup. Obviously, I guess it's easy for me to say. I really liked the setup because he made it loose. I wish a lot of our setups were loose like that. It was just a lot of fun to drive. You had to control the slide off the corner, which is why I like the Gen 4 cars. I mean, you had to really control that. Shout out to team turn and burn tonight. Had a pretty solid night there, I'd say. We had about 1-6-9, 3 top 10s. I feel like we should increase our team championship lead as well. And another shout out, got to give a shout out to, I had a little crew chief with me tonight. I had Daniel Smith over here beside me. We were kind of calculating coming to the green flag pit stop how much fuel to put in, because I didn't want to put as much fuel, because with rear tires wearing more and it being looser, the less fuel you put in these cars, the tighter it gets. So I had him over there with the calculator doing math, saying, okay, we're getting 3 laps to a gallon. I'm pitting with 52 to go. We got to get about 17 gallons, and I just went ahead and put 19 just to be safe. So shout out to Daniel there, and also shout out to my friend who couldn't make it this week, Tony Japs.
Roger that. Yeah, big shout out to Tony. Definitely always miss the his bright color scheme cars back there, and seeing where he finishes, as he's another one of those drivers to watch and threatening to put his car on the podium as well.
Absolutely.
But again, congratulations from CRN and everybody else here in the booth, even with the CRN family, on your win tonight. And we'll let you go and wrap it up and celebrate with your teammates and your friends and family.
Thank you, guys. Hope you enjoyed that one.
Oh, we definitely did.
All right, that your winner here tonight, the 24 again of Andrew Ratcliffe, and another one in the books here, another dominating performance here for the 24, and looking to kind of walk away from this championship and maybe wrap it up a race or two early here, and certainly on his way to doing that with performances like this. You kind of feel bad for the field a little bit here, as he's got a handle on these cars, he's got a handle on these setups that Scott's putting out here. But again, my shout out goes to the rest of this field, not just for keeping it green, but they didn't, just kind of surrender. Everybody except for, what did I say, 4 or 5 guys maybe on the lead lap, and that's a tremendous achievement, I think, for all these guys here after 117 green flag laps.
Yeah, I mean, it's something to have the talent that you have on the field, racing out here, and then from most of them to be on the lead lap, and even one lap down, it's the only person that really is not learning anything, or might think he's getting the wins, obviously, is Andrew Ratcliffe, but it's everybody else that is able to pick up what he's doing, or drive around him just a little bit, or hone their craft in that much more. And a lot of times when people get in these leagues, they're like, I'm always finishing 8th or 9th. I'm always finishing 5th. Or, I'm barely making I might make the podium one week, and then I won't see it for another 3 or 4 weeks or whatever it may be. But if you take the skills that you learn from each other in these leagues, Carl, and you go to like an official race, that is where you see like your money's, not your money, well, I guess your money's worth, where just the time spent basically in iRacing, how just being around a group of consistent people that drive cleanly, where you can hone your craft in a lot easier. But the UCRL does that for these guys, gives them a good environment to race each other, race each other competitively, and just put out these great races. And here's just another one for the books: green flag from start to finish at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Yeah,
absolutely, and I'm looking forward to next week, as Dover is a track that I kind of like. It's different. It's a high banked 1 mile concrete oval, and it can certainly reach out and snap you. Miles the Monster, just like the Lady in Black at Darlington, will reach out and grab you just when you're starting to feel comfortable, and the turn 2 exit and turn 4 exit are just waiting to certainly claim some victims. But I'm a big fan of the track, and I'm interested to see how these 87s tackle the race next week. But in the meantime, we've got racing tomorrow night, as we have the Chop Shop GT3 Series. Friday night, we have Redline Racing. Sunday night is the very fun format of the Core Drivers Cup, as there's going to be 4 races on tap for that one, and a little bit of team atmosphere, as it'll be teams going against each other in the night on Sunday night. Then our next broadcast for these guys is going to be the following Tuesday at Dover, as This is now going to be the off season for the Core Racing League, and not going to be starting up again until July after the Drivers' Cup. So let you guys breathe a little bit and enjoy these other leagues in the meantime, and get your beverages stocked up for the next season. But that's going to do it here for myself and Jimmy here at Charlotte and the Top Gun Cup. We'll see you at the track.
Peace.